When I came to be 18 years of age, I could leave the home, I could leave the orphanage and be my own boss, so to speak. Mr. Westaway, for whom I was working, he was gathering together a lot of timber, a lot of iron, and stacking it under his house. And little did I know that he was building what my brother and I called a humpy on a piece of land in Moggill. And he told me one day that he'd bought this piece of land for £600, paid the mortgage, would I like to go on to it. Well, I thought that was really heaven on earth. That was great. With all this timber that he'd gathered, he had an old carpenter mate who built this little house on the ground. It was pretty rugged, no windows, no doors, only doorways and window openings. And when the westerly wind blew in the winter, it went right through. Fred and I, that was my brother's name, decided to give it a name. We called it Poverty Lane in Poverty Park. That was our address, because we got absolutely no money whatsoever. Our stove only had 3 legs on it. It should have 4, of course, but only had 3. And the 4th leg was a piece of wood that was propped under the stove. And if you ever knocked a piece of wood, the stove would collapse and everything on the stove would fall on the floor. We had a good bath once a week. We bathed in a big tub, like the old-fashioned washing tubs they had. We tossed to see who was going to have first bath. That was usually on a Saturday. But Mr. Westaway bought a horse winch and decided to clear some land which was fairly heavily timbered up on Whitty Road in Moggill. It was a very powerful winch. The gearing was about 133 to 1, and it was pulled by a horse around what they call the drum, which had a big 3/4-inch steel rope. And we fastened the rope to the trees and dug around them, cut a few roots from the trees, and then pulled the trees over. And when they came down to the ground, we cut them up and stacked them, and some of them we burnt, some were used for other purposes. That was our clearing of the land. Snakes galore, black snakes, brown snakes, tiger snakes and carpet snakes. But the biggest problem was with the brown snake. So you always had to check your bed before you got in at night to make sure there was no snake in it. The war broke out and my brother said he was going to join up, and he did. I joined up the army and became a commando and a parachutist. Fortunately for us, there was an elderly gentleman who was going to manage the farm whilst we were away. We came back from the war when it ended in 1945, and my brother Fred and I had both decided that we would get a much better education. We decided we would sell the property because we would need some money to pay our way through. So we sold our farm to a gentleman. He gave us £1,500 for it, and Fred went off to college, to the university, and I went to college and the university. Fred became a lawyer and I became a minister, and we never ever went back to the farm again until just recently. So I just want to relate to you that Moggill, those days, a very, very lovely place. We treasure the memory of it.